Welcome everyone. This is Mahesh Pande. I'm a certified CISA trainer. Here is what you have: the CISA examination preparation training, the way and approach that you will have to clear your CISA in first attempt. For contact and your requirements related to your training and the contents, or you may have a queries, you have given the contact numbers as well as email ID. Trainer profile, you can certainly go through my LinkedIn profile and have a look at the number of organizations and the countries that I have delivered training for. This is what is my list of certifications that you have. This will give you a confidence that I have been learning and delivering this services for long. Overall, 22 years of experience as on the May 2022. I will be bringing all this experience to help you clear your CISA in first attempt. This is what is a brief about the certifications. I'm accredited trainer for various certification bodies. I have delivered trainings across 45 plus countries. Now, here are some of course, glimpses of my trainings, including virtual and of course, on-site trainings. Okay. Now, we will get into the CISA course overview. All right. The contents of the CISA are divided into 5 modules, or you may say 5 domains. These 5 domains are: first one that you have is an information systems audit process, which covers 21% of your entire syllabus. So there are 150 questions, out of which you will get 21% questions out of this domain. Now, if we say that what do we cover as a part of overall systems, the audit process now, we will understand in detail. Okay. The second domain that you have is a governance and the management of IT, which covers 17%. Does mean when I say 21% out of 150 questions, so there are approximately 32 questions that you can expect from information systems and audit process. 70% from the governance and management of IT. You have information system acquisition, development and implementation, which covers 12% part of it. Now, of course, the fourth one is you have the 23%, which is information systems operation, maintenance and business resilience. And the last part is you have the protection of information assets, which is the highest contribution from your exam to your exam. Now, one more point that let me clear out of this to you. You have to cover up, these are all segregated topics. One, in your exam, if you cover up, for example, in 2 domains, although it says 17 and 12%, you have to have the minimum level of achievement out of that. So for example, that you can say that the basic level, the intermediate and specialized level. Now, if we say these 3 levels, that you should be scoring higher than, of course, in 3 areas and 2 at least in intermediate. So one of that area is basic. Consider that you have scored less marks. It doesn't mean that you are going to fail. You will clear your exam. How this system works, it is there with ISACA. Okay, it is there with ISACA. Now, coming back to the point. Now, your examination is 150 questions as of now. You will have 240 minutes. This is a web proctored examination. That does mean there will be a web proctor from ISACA or from the VUE testing center. Okay, and your camera will be on while you are giving examinations. I will certainly guide you before we go for exam, what are the examination best practices and how you should be focusing on that. When I say web proctored, the web camera is on, there is someone is continuously monitoring your activity. You have a lot of restrictions in terms of not to have a single piece of paper on your desk. Also, You cannot make a movements, you cannot read loudly the topic, and you have to only see the exam and question and answer to that. So that's how the web proctor exam works. When I say no, it is not an open book exam. So 57% on a scale of 450 out of 800. Now, how this marking works, again, I said that. So this is based on, as of now, 5 domains. Now, we have also seen what is the percentage and the number of questions that you will get it from each module. Okay. Online delivery or of the exam, or you can have offline. It all depends in your city or a country and city that you may have, and nearest examination center, view testing, you can select that, or online examination is also available. For examination, if you are a ISACA member, you will have 575 USD will be charged, and the membership will cost you approximately $150. The advantage of this, you will have a lot of contents available from ISACA, as well as for the certification, you will have, of course, once you clear your exam, you will have to claim your certificate. Claiming your certificate, they generally charge 84, $85. You will have approximately, again on that also there is a discount, approximately $50 will be charged to you for your certification. Maintenance charges annually that you have to pay for CISA, so that is there. So this is a cost involved in exam. If you are not a ISACA member, you will be charged 760 USD. What is that you are going to get it from me? Okay, so you will have the CISA courseware, you will get the CISA courseware material from me, which includes your presentations and the notes that I have prepared for you. You will have the auditing standard, which is available as you are become ISACA member. So you do not need to have that available from me. I have it available, but you will also have it before you go for examination. Do we really need to use that while going for the training? A portion of content we may need it, and we will use this out of your CISA manual. I will be sharing you the list of terminologies in the form of flashcards that you can use or refer while you are on the move. Maybe you are sitting in a cab, or you are passing time or killing time. Instead, you should use this to build your vocabulary related to CISA topics. I will make sure that you are taking some notes. So for that, I have a presentation. Each topic that we will try to make some notes. And if you prepare your own notes, that will be really great. I repeat, when you prepare your own notes, that will be really great. So this will help you revise your CISA content, and you will clear exam. What is the approach for clearing CISA? As you are going ahead with this training, this is a weekend training, or it might be a weekday training that you may come for other participants. The approach is at least go through the content, that revise it before you come for the session. When you come blank, so whatever the trainer, that is me, that I'm going to explain, the nodding will happen. You will say yes or no. So instead that, what you can do is you read the content and you come back to those, of course, with your own questions, and or you may have your own understanding. We will see how that is applied from an exam point of view, that is one, and the concept point of view. My focus in this training is going to be more on the concept clearing and examination preparation. That is, these are two major objectives that I'll be keeping. You may have some applicability questions. We will certainly see case to case. Okay, so we will be going through a topic wise questions. These topic wise questions are, you will have maybe 5 to 25 questions that we will have. 5 questions that we will have in each topic while we are going through the course. And as the domain is completed, I'll be sending a list of questions which you will be attempting. I have an online website. You will have access to that as well. There you have a full-blown set of questions. I have 22 to 25 sets which are revised on a regular basis. So as do you really need to search from internet what is right and what is wrong? I really don't see. If you try to search from the net, you may find that professionals who have written their, of course, answered those questions may be right or wrong. So you will always be in a confused state. So I do not want any of my participants to be in a confused state. So this is what you have to remember that. Next part, as we are going ahead with the overall domain one, okay? I said domain one, which is process of auditing information systems. Process of auditing information systems. Now, this domain covers up your, now every domain in CISA, that is Certified Information Systems Auditor training and your courseware, that you have defined in two phases. One, planning, two, execution. Now, when you say planning, it's all about arranging the activities as an auditor, and two, execution, that you are saying the testing part of it. I'm sure you have understood what I said, as you have to keep in mind that you are an auditor here, you are not an implementer. Now I will also bring the questions and the type of questions, how that works. We'll come back to that later. However, coming back to the point where planning and execution, you have to keep and consider yourself that you are an auditor. Before you go for audit, you are supposed to plan. What is that plan? Now, if I say IS audit standard guidelines and code of ethics, now this says that you have overall understanding about the ISAGA audit and assurance standard, code of professional ethics. Okay. Also, you have to have a good understanding about IT audit framework. Okay. So this is what you will be getting, as I told you, that you will be getting it as you go ahead with your the ISACA membership. Also, I can share that with you and you will have it available. Do we really need to have more focus from an exam point of view on IT audit framework? No, we don't need to. However, do I need to know? Yes, I need to know what is this. Okay, so there are certain best practices related to the auditing. There are some guidelines, there are some standards, there are some professional ethics which you have to follow while you are going to perform the audit. There are some, basically you may also consider, there are principles of auditing, like I will say red DCF, okay, risk based, due professional care, confidentiality, integrity, independence, fair presentation. So these are some of the principles and I will help you understand these principles in detail. Next part what you have is related to the business processes. Now in your overall syllabus, when you are going for understanding the business processes will have your, you have to focus that you are an internal auditor. That is one thing which is something which I have observed out of the overall the CISA chapter. When I say internal auditor, what an audit, the word itself says, or auditor word, you are here for evaluation. Remember that. Now there are business processes which are established. You are not modifying that. You have not defined that. You are only here to evaluate the effectiveness and efficiency of these business processes. That is the reason that you are hired for. So you have to remember that and keep in mind. Now, as you are an internal audit function member, obviously you have to prepare an audit charter. I repeat, you have to prepare an audit charter. So there will be some points related to the audit planning and execution. So there are various things that we are going to learn as a part of the overall the business function. Now, what are business functions or business processes that you may have? For example, e-commerce or point of sale system. As we go to any shop, that we can see a point of system, a POS to swipe your, of course, your card, that there is a system behind that. You have electronic fund transfer, you have email as a system, you have a purchase accounting system, you have supply chain management. So there are CRM. If you think of your telecom organization, you have a CRM. You go to any retail shop, you have a CRM. So every organization in the world may have working on CRM. So how the CRM system works, do you really need to get into the basics on the roots of it, how system works and implementation, database, servers, application, interconnectivity? We'll come back to the yes. To an extent, we will understand. I will be bringing you. However, are you going to be implementing? No, you are not going to be implementing. You are going to evaluate what was the objectives, how was this implemented, what all the systems act, of course infrastructure that has been used, is it defined as per the, of course implemented as per the defined process policies that you have, is it being used appropriately, is it achieving objectives? So this is what is your auditor's role into that. When you say types of controls, there are in general technology people, we focus, maximum techie people come up, or we have a people coming from finance background. So in this we will be having the understanding about the types of control is not only technological controls. There are in general in CISA three types of control. One is the technological controls, two the physical control, okay, and third one is managerial control. Now, control, physical technological controls can be, now you have IDS, IPS, access controls, VLAN, you create virtualization. So there are various controls that you can set up, okay, with respect to technological. Physical, we have with respect to, for example, that you have a physical perimeter security, you have a biometric access card, maybe a retina scan, many things which you have, okay. So there is a dead man door, okay. So once it is entered, you cannot go back from the same door. There is a reason, and you have to mandatory go from this door out entry. So there is a reason that is called as dead man door. So there are many of physical entry controls that we have. You are going to understand that. Now when it comes to managerial controls, you have a processes and policies, as well as you have access controls defined. So we'll understand all that. There are segregation audit, many controls are associated with this, okay. We will certainly understand that. Now next part is risk based audit plan. As I said, when I say risk based audit planning, you have, I repeat, you are an auditor. You will understand the organization and their, what we can say, physical locations as well as logical systems. That means their tools and technology that they are using, okay, their overall departments and their overall, what we can say, the organization structure related activities. You may have the different department, their business processes, and the each activity, tools and technology related to that. We are going to evaluate. I repeat, we are going to evaluate. We will understand that, and we will also understand what risk the organization have actually identified. Now there is a risk management process, and I will be helping you understand that. What do you mean by that? First, you will focus what risk the organization have identified, and you will plan your audit based on that risk assessment performed by organization. One more important point here, auditor will never perform risk assessment on the systems. I repeat, auditor will not perform risk assessment on systems. There are implementers of information security, they would have prepared, plan the risk assessment. You are going to review those documents, and you are going to prepare your contents, your audit test cases to audit those risks. Remember that. And why is this organization is doing all this? To avoid the lapses, one, to losses, as well as in terms of the reputation loss, financial loss, customer satisfaction, legal issues, all that you are going to avoid that. Now moving forward, okay, there are types of audits and assessment. When you say types of audit and assessment, you may be performing this audit, I repeat, okay. For example, related to your the functional audit. You may have the process audit, system audit, certification audit. You may have a technology audit. You may have compliance audit. You may have financial audit. You may have operations audit. So these are different types of audits. You'll understand that. Also, I'll help you understand there is something what you call is types of audit. Is there are in general you will find on a Google, that is internal audit and external audit. So there is a meaning of internal and external. External has two parts. So this is in general what I will say. This is first party audit. This is second party audit, and there is a third party audit. Now first party audit isn't called as internal audit. Okay, where you have an org structure, you have departments, and you have audit committee. You are going to perform the audit of the processes, policies, tools, technology that you have implemented. That is called as internal audit. So prime purpose is improvement. External audit that you have is altogether you are going to be focusing on your client is coming and performing the audit on the services that they have outsourced to you. So there are contractual requirements. You will be an auditee there, okay? And client will be the auditor. Is that clear? Client will bring their own. Now, are they doing it on their own? They are hiring someone else. That's a separate story. Third party audit, there are two reasons for that third party audit. One, that this organization wants to go for certification. Okay, maybe, I repeat, maybe for ISO 27001, or that is information security management system, can be ISO 22301. So in that case, the organization may be getting certified. That's the reason where you will approach to the third party audit. Another case, may you are gaining one new client, and client says that we don't want your internal audit report. We want you to reach out to some third party organizations for auditing. Conduct the audit on specific areas of information security, could be access management, network and telecom security, compliance issues, or maybe related to physical security or asset management. They will perform that. That is, this organization will approach the third party, okay, auditors, and this third party will give you the independent report that has to share with the client. So that can be one of the reason for a third party audit. So this is how we are going to plan the entire audit. I repeat, this is how we are going to plan the entire audit. In this case, what is the biggest learning out of this to you? One, how the overall audit planning starts. There will be audit. For that, you have to understand organization. I repeat, for that, you have to understand organization. I'll be bringing a typical organization structure to you. You will keep in mind this organization structure while we are going to go through the entire training. As well as I will help you understand the functions within the organization. We will, as we said, there are business process, some of the business processes names that we have taken. We will understand that as well. When you will plan this, it will be easy for you to execute the audit. So in an execution part that you have, remember that each audit that you have is a project. Now, what do you mean by each audit is a project? You have to understand organization. You have to prepare your audit. First of all, you have to select your audit team. Next, you have to prepare audit test cases. Before that, you have to an agreement, that is you will call that audit charter for the organization. Then audit charter is where you have the what are the controls authorities given to auditor for conducting the audit. You may have a question in exam on that. So once you do that, you prepare your audit checklist, audit plan, audit your test cases, the communicated, you are going to be conducting the audit, you are going to preparing the reports, you are going to be, of course, drafting the non-compliance. One important word out of this in CISA, you have to keep in mind compliance word. Conformity is used for standard requirement. We are not meeting standard. Our objective is not only to meet standard. Audit purpose is in CISA is to meet your compliance requirement. Organization have defined their processes, policies, the department and the people who are following that, they have to meet that. So what we call as compliance. Remember that word, compliance. So here we will be more focusing on a compliance. There will be a legal, regulatory and contractual requirements from your client. Auditor is going to evaluate that. So there are information security requirements related to CIA organization. So auditor will evaluate that. Organization have established information security objectives in line with their strategic objectives of the organization. Auditor is going to evaluate. So these are all activities of an auditor that will go through. Each audit is a planned approach. Audit is never a surprise. You will have each audit does is a project. Remember that. So we will have the project management practices that we are going to follow in your ISACA CISA certification. Okay, remember that. Now next part is we will get into the sampling methodology. When I say sampling methodology, there are in general you will have a two types of sampling. One, compliance and substantive. Compliance testing is to do with the policies and processes that they have defined, and the substantive testing is where the applicability test, where you have a volume, maybe your access management process, number of access granted, revoked, changed, all those that you are going to test. You may have a thousands of logs. So how will you perform that? So this is what you can say substantive testing. Now you have a audit evidence collection and technique. When I say you will have audit evidence and of course collection technique. Another part is data analytics. When I say data analytics, you have a SCAT. Okay, computer assisted audit technique. Okay, so CAT is one of the technique, or CAAT. Okay, computer assisted audit technique. You may use a kind of a software to you of course test, perform the analytics and then conduct the audit. Okay, and last part out of this, last button, where you have a reporting and communication. I just mentioned about each audit is a project where you are going to plan the audit, you are going to execute, and you are going to prepare the report. So how will you prepare it? So we'll see how we can prepare some templates as well. You do not need to refer, or you do not need to be dependent on the templates available on a Google or in your organization. You should know how to prepare your reports as well template. Finally, quality assurance and improvement of audit process. The reason behind this is improvement of audit process. Remember that this is not focusing as such that we are talking about is organization improvement. Yes, organization improvement is one of the part. However, your audit process should also be improved while you are conducting each audits in your organization. This is how we are going to take it up each domain. Now I'm going to just review remaining topics that you have in each domain so as we can save on time. All right, so governance and management, this chapter or rather domain focuses on the parts of your organization strategy. That is, you should understand what do you mean of governance. Governance is focusing on EDM, evaluate, direct, monitor. That organization initiatives will be delegated to management, which management plan, build, run and monitor these services and report back to your maybe steering committee. Steering committee reports to strategic committee. So there are two committees in general in every organization: IT strategy committee and IT steering committee. What is the difference between the strategic and steering committee? We will understand. IT related frameworks like ITIL is one of that. You may also have COBIT, control objectives or information related technology. Organization may be following SIAM, service integration management, like a frameworks, or you may be following certain project management methodologies. So various frameworks that you may be managing, we will understand that briefly here. Okay, IT standards, policies and procedures. So unless you have this IT standards, you can also can say that ISO 20,000, okay, is an IT service management standard, and as well as Here, based on which we have following 27001 information security management best practices. Okay, ISMS. We may have that. We'll understand that. Organization structure. Now, there are typical organization structure where you have a CEO and you have audit committee independent or maybe reporting to CEO. What is the difference between that? You have various departments, including CISO, CIO, and that we will understand that. Enterprise architecture. I am not sure how many of you are clear with TOGAF, the Open Group Architecture Forum. You will have some context towards that. We'll understand different types of architectures. We will understand that. Okay. Enterprise risk management. In general, if you are done with ISO 31000, so this part is covered. I'll be bringing details of that during our training. Maturity model. Now, this is CMMI approach. Okay, capability maturity, of course, interface model that you have CMMI, where you have 0 to 5 levels are there. So what do you mean by 0, 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay, we will understand that. Law and regulations and industry standard, there are various laws and regulations that can be, of course, followed. You'll see how that works. Okay, IT management, as I said, this is a part of your planning and this is part of your execution. IT management, IT resource management, you have overall acquisition management, performance, and quality management of and quality assurance and quality management of IT. Now, last domain, it was related to quality assurance and improvement of audit process. Now here we are focused altogether on a governance and management of IT. So there is a focus on quality assurance and quality management of IT. Third domain, which covers up information system acquisition. So in your domain, that this domain is largely focusing on your SDLC, software development lifecycle, and you have project management. So we will understand as well as the testing part of it. Okay, so these are three different topics which you have largely, along with, I repeat, along with the implementation best practices. Okay, so we will see how this works. Okay, as I said, that you have project management, governance and management. I'll be helping you to understand overall project management best practices, which is defined and in general, that is, this is aligned with the PMP approach. Okay, so where you have 5 process groups, 47 processes, 10 knowledge areas, how this works, you have a reference of that in this module. So there are various roles in project management. Now, there is a project manager, so there is a program manager, there is a portfolio manager. What do you mean by that? So we'll understand that. Okay, there are user specific roles, there are functional roles you have, we will understand that. Business case and feasibility. Any initiative that you are going to take it in the organization, there has to be a cost benefit analysis, and that goes through business case. We'll understand that. System development methodologies, which I said that is a part of SDLC lifecycle. We will have requirement gathering till the maintenance, all those phases, we will understand that. Control identification and design. When it comes to the execution part of it, you have the testing methodologies. Now, testing methodologies related to systems. As an auditor, you will verify whether these methodologies were followed and what are the results. Have they achieved the objectives? Do you really need to get into the performing the testings? No, auditor will not perform the testings. Remember that. So you have the release management team or your development team have a and the separate testing team. They have performed that. You are going to review the reports out of that. But you should know what type of tests are there. There is unit test, there is an integration, systems test, and UAT. So how that works, okay? What is post-implementation review? We will understand that. Configuration and release man. Now this is like, along with this, you will understand overall whatever changes that you are bringing in the infrastructure, have those changes recorded appropriately? Do they have right practices? In terms of release management, you have, for example, there is a major release, there is a minor release. Okay, so what do you mean by that? Overall plan, build and test. Okay, plan, build and test. And then you have a system migration, infrastructure deployment. This is part of your deployment management. Okay, so old school books from a service management, they will understand the release and management is actually one process in many organizations. However, it may not be the same. Okay, so last one is post implementation review. Okay, so you are going to verify that this is what was expected and what is delivered. It is have you the organization achieved their objectives in terms of, maybe you can say, time and motion study. Okay, an application which is accessible. Okay, it was decided that 1 second per screen, have they achieved this, or maybe milliseconds out of that. So you as an auditor, you are going to review all that from a overall testing part of it. Fourth domain talks about information system operations and business resilience. This domain is covering up information system operations, like this is again a part of planning and execution, where you will understand various types of hardware components, such as in network systems. Okay, you have a servers, plate servers, you have a rack mounted servers, you also have printing devices, you have end user computing devices, you have routers, firewalls, so various, of course, hardware components we are going to understand. Asset management system interface, end user computing from the thick client, thin client point of view, data governance, system performance management. Here, altogether, part of it is like one is monitoring and the reporting part of it. Okay, so what you set, okay, for monitoring, what have you been achieved, you are going to review that. Now, as a part of the word itself says information system operations. When I say operations, obviously incident, problem, change, configuration, release, and patch management, service level management is going to come by default. So those who are ITIL Foundation certified, for them, this is a cakewalk. I repeat, this is a cakewalk. Now, the point here is this is information systems operation. It is not a information, that is security incident management. Remember that. So this part is not focusing on the information security incident management. This is the information systems operation. Remember that. Yes, you also have information security incident management in the last part of it. Okay, this domain, we'll come back to the business resilience. This is more focusing on the organization wide business continuity. You have HR, finance, IT, you also have legal, you have admin, various, all of them, they have to contribute to the business continuity management. Okay, so each department will have to plan for the continuity of their systems. What auditor is going to do that? The auditor is going to completely evaluate your business continuity plan. Have they performed BI for each services that they are actually running? We are going to audit on that. We will understand various topics such as the RPO, recovery point objective, recovery time objective, who sets, what is the time frame, what timeline, what is the impact. We are going to understand that. Last part is domain 5, protection of information assets. Now, this domain that is extensively focusing on technology piece of it. Okay, the controls that you are going to set up, not only technology, along with that, obviously, I did mention 3 types of control: 1, technology; 2, physical; and 3, you have managerial controls. Now, information asset, the security framework, standards and guidelines, privacy principles. This is again, we just discussed some time back. You have an extensive, of course, you are the weightage is coming up across the world. You have, because of one, GDPR, HIPAA, HIPAA, as well as now India has coming up with PDP, privacy data protection, and now there is also ISO 27701 certification available. Okay, and organization can get certified on this. All right, organization can, there is no such certification available on this for organization. ISO has come out with covering up many aspects of privacy for the data principle, that is called as data subject, data controller, data processor, and third party. Okay, physical access and environment controls, identity access management. If you have worked on identity access, if you know how your access management process works and the tools technology work, this will be very easy for you. Okay, those who are from the service management, for them it is very easy to understand this topic. Okay, network and endpoint security, data classification, encryption technologies. You have symmetric, asymmetric encryption, public key interface, where this is like PKI, you are going to get the certificate from the certificate authority, there are registration, registered authority, and you are going to use that, okay, as a customer. Web-based communication technologies, you have virtualized environments, like you have the software virtualization, hardware virtualization, okay, as well as there is a concept of containerization. So we are going to understand, this is a new concept of related to DevOps. We will certainly understand that. Mobile wireless and IoT devices, that you have mobile devices now, security related to mobile devices, not really your mobile phone, okay, remember that. So you have a laptop as well as you have a tablet, okay, so that can be considered as a mobile device. So there has to be a policy associated with that, as well as controls that you are going to implement, and auditor is going to evaluate what controls you have actually established. So there are security event management is one of the, of course, major activity. The events have to be continuously updated, what cases, okay, in the event management tool. Now any new tools, technologies come up, you have to integrate with that event management tool that in the organization. What do you mean by event management tool, and what do you mean by event correlation management tool? We are going to understand security awareness training and programs, information security, attack methods and techniques related to various, for example, man in middle or denial of distributed service attacks. So these are some of the examples. There can be many such examples. Of course, your topics that you have, we are going to understand. Testing tools and techniques. Now, security monitoring tools and techniques, and incident response management, where you have information security incident management topic that is explained in detail. And finally, evidence collection and forensics. So these are all 5 topics that you have, and we are going to take this forward in your entire session. I am sure you will clear your CISA in first attempt.